At the start of the story, a girl named Caroline tells the audience a secret about herself. A friend of hers, Jillian, runs a business where she works as an interior designer and makes a lot of money. Caroline just moved into a nice apartment in the middle of the city. Everything in her life is going well, she says, except for one big problem. She can't get an orgasm. Since it began 6 months ago, this problem has been really bothering her. It all started when a pizza delivery guy said he was good at getting close to people, which had a very bad effect on Caroline. She hasn't been able to get her old sense of pleasure back since then. One more thing is wrong with this apartment, though. Her loud neighbor brings a new girl home every night, which is always a bother. Caroline looks at her neighbor through the peephole one morning and sees him say goodbye to a very fat woman. Before the night is over, he brings home another girl who, for some reason, sounds like a cat while they're together. These sounds really bother Caroline's cat, making her even more upset. Caroline looks tired and lacks sleep every day when she goes to work because of how stressed out she is. She tells Jillian how upset she is and complains about how her neighbor is acting. But Jillian, who used to live in the same apartment, says she never had problems like that. Her friends Sophia and Mimi, who have been drinking, come over to her apartment so they can see one of her neighbor's loud nights for themselves. Like always, the neighbor is making a fuss. Caroline makes fun of her friends by saying that her wall has been unfairly tortured. Caroline's friends found out that her neighbor is seeing 3 women at the same time after hearing her talk about the noises coming from the apartment next door. Caroline's friends find this funny, but Caroline, who hasn't slept well for 3 nights in a row, finds it very disturbing. Several days go by and different women, including one named Lizzie, keep showing up at the neighbor's apartment. She calls her neighbor Wallbanger and grows to really dislike him because she hasn't met him in person yet. She hopes she can finally get a good night's sleep one night when it looks like the neighbor came home by herself. She slips into her favorite nightgown and lets her cat out of the room. Just as she's about to fall asleep, though, the wall noise starts up again. This time, Caroline gets really mad and chooses to talk to her neighbor about it. Caroline sees Simon, her neighbor, half-dressed when they first meet, and instantly falls in love with him. She can't get him out of her mind. But Caroline's main reason for coming is to complain about the noise, not anything else. Simon, on the other hand, doesn't care what she says and tells her she can't tell him what to do. Because she can't hear him, he asks her, "Why hasn't he ever heard you?" It's possible that no one wants to go into her room. Caro tells her friends the next day how good-looking her neighbor Simon is. Caroline runs into Simon again at a party that Jillian is throwing. He turns out to be a close friend of Jillian's. Caroline gave Simon the nickname Wallbanger, which his friends call him when they're with him. Simon is mad because he doesn't know why that name was used against him. At the same time, it comes out that Simon calls Caroline his pink nightgown girl because she was wearing that outfit when she argued with him. After some time, Caroline and Simon go outside to the garden and talk. While this is going on, they start arguing, and Caroline hits Simon out of anger. At some point, though, they decide to stop fighting and make some rules to make living next to each other easier. Simon says he will be quiet at night, and Caroline agrees to be a little less strict. There are signs that Caroline and Simon are trying to get along better. At the same time, Caroline's friends Sophia and Mimi are able to get Neil and Ryan's attention. Every one of them leaves the party with their own guy. Caroline hears from Jillian the next day that she thinks she should think about dating Simon. She says that she has known Simon for a long time and that he is truly a nice person and a skilled photographer. Something strange happens in the next scene. Caroline's cat bites one of the girls who used to make noises like cats. The scared girl runs out of the apartment quickly. At the same time, the overweight girl sees that Caroline and Simon are becoming more and more close. Jillian gives Simon Caroline's number while he is in Ireland. During his trip, they text each other and stay in touch. When Simon gets back, their relationship changes from being hostile to friendly, getting closer every day. They even spend the night together, even though they both say they only want to be close friends. Caroline and Simon, along with their friends, take a weekend trip to Ryan's private cabin. They spend their time hiking through beautiful nature trails, playing guitar, and having deep conversations. Caroline and Simon's relationship stays at the level of a friend during this trip. As they drink wine together one night, they decide to play a game of truth or dare. Caroline notices the awkward tension and lack of chemistry between the couples while they play. She tells them straight out that Mimi and Sophia should switch boyfriends because the ones they have now aren't working out. Caroline and Simon stay with Caroline and Sophia because Mimi and Sophia leave the hot tub with their new partners. At this point, Caroline and Simon's feelings start to get stronger, and it looks like a big event is about to happen. But all of a sudden, Simon backs off, which hurts and upsets Caroline. After being let down and hurt, she walks away. Simon tells Caroline the truth the next morning that he likes her, but he didn't want their first kiss to happen while they were drunk because it could have ruined everything. Caroline agrees with this explanation. After a week, Caroline tells Jillian that Simon hasn't paid her any attention and hasn't reached out, which makes her think that he's no longer interested. But Jillian tells her not to worry and tells her to give Simon some time. When Caroline is about to ask Simon to go on a date, she listens in on a conversation between him and one of his ex-girlfriends and changes her mind. She's going to meet up with her ex-boyfriend Jim instead. Things get closer during their meeting, but Jim messes up by calling Caroline a decorator, which ends the date with him leaving empty-handed. At the same time, Simon shows up at her door. He may or may not have been there the whole time, but Caroline tells him everything she feels and is angry about. She rants about being ignored, having a bad date, and how tired she is from her current situation. Simon tries to make her feel better by telling her that he has broken up with all of his other partners because he only wants to be with her. Simon then asks Caroline to go to Spain with him on a photography trip. They see beautiful sights, eat delicious food from the area, and spend quality time together while they're away. Simon wants to take their relationship slowly, but Caroline says they should start with gentle, small steps. But these little steps aren't enough for Caroline after a while. She sets her sights on taking the relationship to the next level. Simon tries his hardest, and everything looks great. Caroline is excited because she thinks the moment she's been waiting for is about to happen. But all of a sudden, nothing happens. She acts like she's having an orgasm to hide how sad she is. The next morning, Caroline tells Simon she had a good time with him but has to go home. She doesn't give a lot of details. When she gets home, she vents her anger on a cardboard cutout of the pizza delivery guy, who seems to be the cause of all her problems. When Simon finally gets there to see her, Caroline is already cooking. When Simon finds out that she was lying earlier, he suggests that they work together to figure out what's going on. Carmen tells him that her problem started with that pizza delivery guy and that she is tired from everything. Simon tries to make her feel better, and they tell each other they love each other and decide to try again. This time, everything works out just right, and Caroline finally has the moment she's been looking for her whole life. Caroline and Simon end up getting together with their friends around a table. And this is when Benjamin and Jillian admit that they planned the whole thing from the start to bring Caroline and Simon closer together. At the end of the story, the two main characters become closer and fall in love in a real way that will last. How did you like the explanation of this movie? Let us know below in comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, Cinema Unplugged.